Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Open the door a little. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Open. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Mr. Pad Paramahansa Pradikacharya Ashtotar Darashi Srimad Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON BBT Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Pradikacharya Ashtotar Darashi Srimad Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Srimad Bhagavad Gita Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. Okay, I just had overheated a little bit. I took my evening walk. So now I'm cooled down. You can close it again. Because there's a little street noise and everything. I'm sorry? Yeah. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Looks like you got the right page there. 627 at the bottom. There you are. Okay. On this 8th day of July 2020 in SanDiego, we're reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is, translation and commentary by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And we are in chapter 16, the divine and demoniac natures. Text 11 and 12. Oh no, I'm sorry. Text 10 at the top. Text 10. Oh no, we did that one. We did that one. Text 11 and 12 at the bottom. That's it. Chintam apadimeyam cha. Palayantam upashitaha. Kamopabhoga padama. Etavaditi nishtitaha. Asha pashasatar buddha. Kama krodha parayana. Ihante kama bhogartam. Anyayena sanchayan. Chintam apadimeyancha. Palayantam upashita. Kamopabhoga padama. Etavaditi nishtitaha. Asha pashasatar buddha. Kama krodha padayana. Ihante kama bhogartam. Anyayena sanchayan. How are you, chant 11, Alex? Yeah, just do one verse. Chintam apadimeyang cha palayantam apashitaha kamopabhoga padama etabaditi nishchita. You want to try 12, Ed, or go ahead? No, Asha. Just do the second one. Asha pasha satar buddha kama krodha parayanaha ihante kama bhogartam anyayenartha sanchayan. Okay, I'll just, since you have books, I'll just read these and you can read along silently. Chintam, fears and anxieties. Apanimeyam, immeasurable. Cha, and palaya antam, unto the point of death. Upashataha, having taken shelter of. Kama upabhoga, sense gratification. Padamaha, the highest goal of life. Etavat, thus, iti, in this way. Nishtitaha, having ascertained. Asha pasha, entanglements in a network of hope. Shatai, by hundreds. Buddhaha, being bound. Kama, of lust, krodha, and anger. Parayanaha, always situated in the mentality. Ihante, they desire. Kama, lust, bhoga, sense enjoyment. Artam, for the purpose of. Anyayena, illegally. Arta, of wealth. Sanchayan, accumulation. Translation. They, the demons, believe that to gratify the senses is the prime necessity of human civilization. Thus, until the end of life, their anxiety is immeasurable. Bound by a network of hundreds of thousands of desires and absorbed in lust and anger, they secure money by illegal means for sense gratification. Purport. The demoniac accept that the enjoyment of the senses is the ultimate goal of life, and this concept they maintain until death. They do not believe in life after death, and they do not believe that one takes on different types of bodies according to one's karma or activities in this world. Their plans for life are never finished, and they go on preparing plan after plan, all of which are never finished. We have personal experience of a person of such demoniac mentality who, even at the point of death, was requesting the physician to prolong his life for 4 years more because his plans were not yet complete. Such foolish people do not know that a physician cannot prolong life even for a moment. When the notice is there is no consideration of the man's desire. The laws of nature do not allow a second beyond what one is destined to enjoy. The demoniac person who has no faith in God or the supersoul within himself performs all kinds of sinful activities simply for sense gratification. He does not know that there is a witness sitting within his heart. The supersoul is observing the activities of the individual soul. As it is stated in the Upanishads, there are two birds sitting in one tree. One is acting and enjoying or suffering the fruits of the branches, and the other is witnessing. But one who is demoniac has no knowledge of Vedic scripture, nor has he any faith. Therefore he feels free to do anything for sense enjoyment, regardless of the consequences. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnanandana Shalakya Chakshurunmiritam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, but my spiritual master Srila Prabhupada opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my humble obeisance unto him and all members of Sri Parampara. I did. I turned it down. He wanted to ask you. He asked you now?
Well, he asked me like 5 minutes ago.
Oh, really? I'll speak soft. I'll speak a little soft. Okay, so the demons believe that gratify the senses is the prime necessity of human civilization. So we can see this is the civilization we live in. One way or another, whether it's subtle senses, there's so much virtual sense gratification going on through media, but it's still sense gratification. Or gross sense gratification. This is the main aspiration for most people in this world, practically the sole aspiration. And even if you expand that, Prabhupada explains in, I think, the Nectar Devotion and other places, how one may not be completely self-centered and egoistic. After all, you have your family and you have sometimes your community and wider circle. But it still boils down to sense gratification. You're hoping that your loved ones will be safe and happy, and they'll enjoy sense gratification. And that's simply your extended ego. You identify with your particular family and clan, and so it's still false egoism, and it's still self-centered, based on the gratification of the senses, and so there can never be peace. And this whole verse, 2 verses, begins with these words: "Chintam apadimeyam," immeasurable fears and anxieties. And this is spoken of so many places in the Bhagavatam. Prabhupada would always quote this verse, uttered by Prahlad Maharaj to his father. His father, this was the first time that he asked him, "What did you learn today? What's the best thing you learned today?" You know. And so he said, "My dear father," Prabhupada makes it when he didn't call him father, he called him the best of the demons. Tatsado manye asodabharya dehinam. Yeah, if you want, we can get you another cushion, Ed. We have many. He usually sits here, but go ahead, sit there. We'll get another cushion. We have so many. Another setup. You'll need a book also. That's all because you came late.
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
Okay. So, his father, who's the ideal demon, Hiranyakashipu, his very name indicates his aspirations. Hiranya means gold, and Kashipu, soft couches. You know, Prabhupada would say yes, a gold and soft bedding and the bed companion. This is the idea. Hiranyakashipu. His brother had already been killed due to his arrogance and, his greed. His name is Hiranyaksha, always looking for gold, mining gold. So Hiranyakashipu then became master of the universe through severe austerities, and he's raising his eldest son, Prahlad, to take over. What he doesn't know is that Prahlad Maharaj has already been thoroughly educated by Narada Muni in the womb. So he's a great devotee, one of the Mahajans. So he looks like a young boy in the school. So he's with all the other boys, and so his father wants to know, what's the best thing you learned today, And so he tells his father what he doesn't want to hear. And he says, "Tat sadhamanye asodabharya dehinam sada samudvignadiyam asadgrahat hit vatmapatam griyamandakupam vanam gato yadhadamashriyed." So he says, best of the demons, Father, the best thing I learned today, the best, Prabhupada says, best for whom? Dehinams, for the embodied soul. So right away he's speaking spiritually here, not just for the body, the embodied soul, who is always samudvigna, completely troubled by anxieties and disturbed in mind. Why? Asadgrahat. Because you're always grabbing onto, this word graha and grabbing, as you can easily remember what it means. You're holding on for dear life to that which is impermanent. You see the paradox. It's I always give the example right here on the water. You go out on a boat, and they're life preservers, whatever, So the boat springs a leak, and you jump into the water, and someone throws you a life preserver. Okay, we have life preservers. Okay, so we'll be rescued. And then you find out the life preserver also has a leak or something, is also faulty, and you're sinking. So this is the nature of this material world. Right at the beginning of the second canto. Now it's interesting that the Bhagavatam kind of has 2 beginnings. It has beginning in the first canto, Om Namo Bhagavate, and then those 3 important verses. How did the Bhagavatam come to be written? That's what the first canto is all about. And then the second canto begins again with Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. And we begin with an answer to the questions of Parikshit. Parikshit is kind of the protagonist, he has given up his whole kingdom rather than counteract the curse of Shringi, the first of the corrupt Brahmins. It's a whole thing. He accepts the curse, gives up his kingdom, gives up his kingly dress, sits down by the bank of the Ganges to be enlightened, to see what happens. And all great sages from all over the universe, they gather there, and Shukadeva Goswami comes and speaks the Bhagavatam. So this is Shukadeva's first lesson. And Parikshit asks this essential question: what should one do? What should one hear? What should one think about as death approaches? Because he's got 7 days, And Prabhupada makes the point there and in other places. Well, we don't know. We have 7 minutes. So this is an instruction for all human beings who are intelligent. So first he praises the question. And he says, Vadiyanishate prashna kuto loka hitang nipa atmavid samadak mangsam sarvishu vaidishu, I forget the last line. Very nice question, that this benefits both the hearer and the answerer. And it's praised by all learned sages. The question is, not how can I treat my cancer so I can live a couple of months more? No. It says, what can I do? What should I think of? Where should I place my mind, knowing that I will not really die, and that the state of my mind determines my destiny? That's the implication. So then he describes materialists, those who aren't interested in Atma Tattva, the truth of the self. Shota vyadini rajendra ninang santi sahasyacha apushyatam atma tattvam griheshu grihamedinam. The grihamedinam means materialists who are simply interested in material household life. They have millions of subject matters for hearing. And what do they do with their lives? He gives like a 2-verse summary. Nidriya hriyate naktam vivayena chabhavayak divacharte he rajan kutumba bodhanenava. At night, they waste their time sleeping too much, having sex. During the day, they work like anything in order to get money. And on the weekend, they go shopping. He doesn't use those exact words, but he says kutumba bodhanenava. Kutumba bodhana means to maintain the kutumba. That's the extended family. You go to the mall, you take your kids shopping, or you go shopping yourself. And then you have, but it's a dangerous world out there, and so you have various means of counteracting the dangers. So he mentions them. Deha patta kalatradish atmasainyeshva sattvapi tesham pramatta nidanam pashyan apina pashyati. So what he says there is that you have various means of defense to protect against the dangers of this world. What's going on? Okay. I thought someone might be crashing the class or something. So he says you have various things that help you defend against the dangers of this world. The first is strong body, health, deha. Then you have your children, your wife, extended family, kalatra, adishu. Adishu means etc. in that category. Atma sainyeshu, these are your soldiers to protect the self from danger. But they're asatsu, they're all fallible. They're as fallible as you are. You need protection because you have this delicate body, your finances are you have the pandemic coming, and bombs and enemies and who knows what. It's a dangerous world, so it's full of anxieties. Chintam apadimeyamcha. You're on the material platform, you see. So, but even though seeing and knowing that these soldiers of yours are fallible, who can deny it? The body is certainly fallible, and that means your children are the same. It's all fallible. You see, but you don't see. This is an idiom in Sanskrit. Pashyanapina pashyati. Now remember, this theme has been coming again and again in the Bhagavad Gita, also in the Bhagavatam, that you see according to your state of consciousness. We can, it's obvious. Children, they live in a different world. They see things differently, understand things differently. Most things they don't understand. It's just a big mystery, And as you grow older, you learn things. Like the example of this temple, these nice illustrations we have. Well, each one of them, devotees know what they are. There's Lord Chaitanya's Kirtan, you're reminded. Prabhupada, he loved these paintings. From day one, he had Jadharani painting to illustrate the books. Because he knew people are attracted by that. And windows to the spiritual world. When they're painted by devotees, I'll tell you a little story, because everything depends on the consciousness with which you do it. There was once a point in ISKCON in America where a lot of the temples were being supported by painting sales. Yeah, turn that off. Oh, we got 8? Or?
Yeah, I guess 12.
I didn't notice. Hare Krishna. So we had this Korean industry of cheap paintings, and devotees would take rolls around and like that. All right. So one devotee had the idea. Well, why don't we have we can order paintings of Krishna, and we can help decorate the painting, the temple. So I don't remember if there was more than one that went up on the wall, but there was a painting of Krishna, and he had the basics there. There's good. It didn't work. There's no devotion. It was just painting by numbers or whatever. He gave him a painting, the copy, like that. Everything depends on that, on the mood with which you do it. So they see, but they don't see. Pashanapi na pashyati. And so what is his conclusion? So there's a lesson. He has like 6 verses that are it's a lesson in itself. Even if you just read those 6 verses, you can go back to God if you follow it. So he's saying, he says, Tatsmat, yeah. So in other words, the taking shelter of the material energy, which is what materialists do, is a losing game. It means that you've been tricked by Maya once again. To focus on her and her varieties of sense gratification of things that you think you can protect you and all these different things, and forget all about Krishna. But no matter who you are, big or small, in this society, you eventually meet the end of this lifetime. And if your mind is filled with these thoughts, then you're going to stay bound up to this material world for another term of suffering. So even during the lifetime of these gross materialists who are classified under demonic, chintam aparimayam, they have unlimited anxieties. You see. So Shukadev, just to finish his lesson there, he says, Tasmat Bharata. Bharata means descendant of Bharat, Purkit. Sarvatma Bhagavan Ishwaro Hari Shrotavya Kirtitavyascha Smartavya Chechitabayam. For those who desire fearlessness at that time of death, here's what you have to do now. O glorious descendant of King Bharat. He gives 4 indications of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But Sarvatma, the Supreme Soul, the soul of all, the super soul. Bhagavan, Supreme Personality of Godhead. Ishvara, Hari. Ishvara, the Supreme Controller. Hari, he who takes away all your sufferings and your karma, and he takes your heart away. That's Hari. What should you do? Hear about him, chant about him, and remember him. Shotavyak, smartavyak chechitabayam. And then he gives a verse that's has one line in it that's worth memorizing tonight. We'll learn it tonight. The line is Ante Narayana Smriti. At the end of your body, to remember Narayana or Krishna. So he says, the whole verse begins, Etavan Sankhya Yogabhyam Swadharma Parinishtaya Janmalabhak Parak Pungsam Ante Narayana Smriti. Whatever you do in terms of Sankhya or yoga or bhakti, Sankhya yoga, or your duties you perform in Varnashram, the perfection, the measure of the perfection is whether you can remember Krishna at the time of death. That's the whole thing. And that's I think the first 6 verses in that chapter. So these demons, they're not going there. They're fixed. Just like Hiranyakashipu, even confronted by Nrsingadev, who's obviously more powerful than him, instead of surrendering, he just fought to the death. And then you have all these other demons who are his associate demons. It never ceases to amaze me how they don't pick up any idea. Well, he's all powerful, our great master Hiranyakashipu, and he was just killed. So maybe we should at least run away. No, we'll fight him too. This is fixed on that demoniac mentality. So the idea is that the more desires you have, the more you're absorbed in getting and spending and holding and greed and lust, the more anxiety you'll be in. This is described by Lord Chaitanya in a very nice verse. Who really can attain peace? And we're talking about peace here as an internal state. Because if you're really peaceful and self-controlled and Krishna conscious, even if there is all kinds of turmoil around you, you can still have that core of peace in your heart. How to tolerate that? Because after all, we all have to face our own death, and it can be a very confusing and disturbing time. How to keep your equilibrium at that time, you can only rely on what Krishna consciousness you've cultivated, and your understanding. Nobody dies. The jayate mriyate vakadachan. You know, let me just remember Krishna. Let me call on Krishna. So Lord Chaitanya says, Krishna bhakta nishkama ataeva shanta. Bhukti mukti siddhi kami sakali ashanta. This is a good verse to remember. So there's 4 categories of human beings. There is the bhaktas, the devotees, who is a small group, you know. And there are the bhukti kamis, the siddhi kamis, and the mukti kamis. The word kami means one who are very personally desirous, or they aspire for something. So the bhukti kamis are the vast majority of people. They want various varieties of sense gratification. They get one kind, it's disappointing, they start another one, or whatever, you know, it just keeps coming. As it said here, Asha Pasha Shata Badha. Asha Pasha, I love that phrase, means the ropes of hope, the ropes of material aspiration. They're bound up by hundreds of them. Asha Pasha Shata Badha, and they're always tying new ones. You know, that's what advertising is all about, right? They've got you going one direction, and they try to plant a new desire. And with the internet, you know, they sell the information. Oh, he bought this, you know, before. Oh, maybe you can sell him this. So you find in your inbox, right, so many things. They know I'm 72, so they're always saying, oh, look, you can grow younger. You know, so many things. So Lord Chaitanya is saying the only ones who can be truly peaceful are the bhaktas, because they don't want anything material. Krishna bhakta nishkama. Nishkama is where you want to be. Means no material desire. But you have to replace that desire with desire to serve Krishna. You can't be desireless. That's a complete myth. That effort by the Mayavadis, it doesn't work. We're living beings, we have to desire. It means we have to purify the desire. So Krishna bhakta nishkama evashanta. But bhukti mukti siddhi kami sakali ashanta. The bhukti kamis, those who want material things, they're never peaceful. Even if they get what they want, then there's always the threat that someone will take it from you. So that's another anxiety, right? I mean, all of these people, you know, millionaires and billionaires, they see the, you know, dangers in the society and the disorganization. So they build their bunkers somewhere, right? In New Zealand or somewhere, you know, so they think they'll be safe. Build it underground if they get $1 billion, you know, plenty of clean water and air, stock up the food, you know. But I remember I read one of these billionaires was asking some advice. How can I make sure that the staff stays loyal? You know? In other words, you can't just be alone there. You have to have servants, right? But if the whole world is blown up, are they really going to stay loyal to you? Why? In other words, this is another form of anxiety. Can you imagine how desperate and foolish that would be? Instead of chanting Hare Krishna, say, well, come what may. That's auspicious to do, right? Maybe I'll die. Maybe I'll leave my body. No. Try to hold on to this, you know, dying body, and you know, it's just pathetic. So this is bhukti kamis are hopeless, but then you have the mukti kamis, those who want liberation for themselves. It's a form of lust. That's why it's different. Kamis, they're kamis. They want the liberation for themselves. Now it's important to realize. You say, well, who do we know who wants liberation? Nobody even knows what it is. But think of this. Bhagavad mentions this in one purport. That any desire to just mitigate the suffering in this world is part of that larger category of mukti kami. That's just the ultimate liberation from suffering. No more birth, no more death, no more disease, no more old age, no more material body of any kind, you know. Just be in a perpetual state of sensory deprivation. is lying in the Brahma Jyoti. I am that I am. No desires, no thoughts. You can't do that. It's like, Prabhupada would give the example, someone gets in a car accident or something. You're laid up in the hospital. Your leg is in traction. You broke your leg. So, it's the days drag on. You get a couple of visitors, but it's just, when will this leg heal up so I can get out of here? That becomes your aspiration. That's your asha pasha. And finally that day comes, you can leave, and you walk out of the hospital, and your aspiration is fulfilled. That's it. You just sit down on the curb. At last, I'm out of the hospital. No, you take up your life, right? In other words, just liberation is not sufficient. It's a negative aspiration. And Prabhupada would constantly quote this verse in this regard in the 2nd chapter, 10th canto, where the demigods are praying to Krishna in the womb. They come secretly down in that dungeon of Kamsa, and they're praying. And one of the most famous prayers, Ye and Ye Adabindaksha, Vimuktamaninas Tvayasta Bhagavad Avishuddha Buddhaya, Aruha Kuchena Parang Padang Tata Patantyadho Anadrucha Yushmarangriya. They say, oh lotus navel Lord, all these little words indicate we're not those impersonalists. We understand you have a beautiful body with a beautiful navel in it, a lotus navel Lord. Ye Adabindaksha. Actually, that's the eyes, Adabindaksha, Vimuktamaninas. These impersonalists, they think they're liberated. Tvayashta Bhavad, but they're averse to serving you, your lotus feet, because their consciousness is not purified. They're egotistical. They don't want to surrender to you. They don't want to admit that there's a higher power eternally over them. So, through severe austerities, Krit Traina, they may, a few very determined ones, may rise up to the Brahman platform. It's called Param Padam. It's not back to Godhead, but it's in the Brahma Jyoti kind of. But then eventually, Patantyado, they fall down again, literally. Anadrita Yushmarangriya, because they're averse to serving your lotus feet. So that's no solution. These are called the Mukti Kamis, and they're also in great anxiety because they're always trying to be liberated and trying to quiet that mind, withdraw the mind from this by the force of will and tapasya, and even if they get up there, they say, oh, can I keep this position or I'm going to fall down? And where's the peace, And then there's the Siddhi Kamis, the yogis who can through great austerity and practice become smaller than the smallest, astral travel, control them as minds, get anything you want from anywhere, So you can see how that's going to cause you anxiety, I've only got 2 of the 8, and the yogi down the valleyway, he's got 4 of these cities, or and it doesn't lead to detachment. Vishwamitra, was a great yogi, but he was a great Brahmin. He wanted to be a yogi or something. Prabhupada said he had this yogic power where he could harvest human beings from trees. They could grow on trees like that. I never even heard of that one. But hey, you can market it, So the Krishna says it right in the Gita. Vihaya kama niksarvan pumam charadi nikspaha nirmamal rahankara sashanti madigachati. At the end of chapter 2, right near the end, I think second last verse, he says, here's where you can really get peace. There's so much about peace there. I don't know if you recall, second chapter. Vihaya kama niksarvan, literally giving up all of these material desires. Pumam charadi nikspaha, and you may be living your life, but you're living free of desire. Nirmamota hankara, without sense of proprietorship and false ego, you can actually get peace. And all of those qualifications come when you're really sincere in devotional service. So that's the only way to real peace. But this is just the opposite. These are the demons. And chintam apadimeyam cha. Until the end of life, there's anxieties immeasurable. Bound by a neck with hundreds and thousands of desires, absorbed in lust and anger, they secure money by illegal means for sense gratification. So this is, surrounded by people like that. But you can see how liberating it is. The more that you think you need, if you minimize, the more peaceful you can be. The more your mind can be, you can be free to fix your mind on Krishna. Otherwise, there's always anxieties. So that's the great advantage of a simple life. Simplify as much as possible. But it only works when you're getting a higher taste, when you're plugged in to Krishna consciousness. And you can be happy in a really good kirtan, some simple service, Krishna, a little prasad, wardrobe. How much money have I saved on wardrobe and haircuts over the years? Tens of thousands. Just on haircuts, once a week shave up rather than pay. Now was it $20, $25? I'm sure. $30 haircut. I used to go as a kid at 75 cents to get a haircut. Anyway, it's liberating. We can see how it. Okay, any questions on this verse? Here now, Krishna is going to give us. He's now pretending to be a demon. He's speaking like a demon. The next 3 verses. Okay, text 13 to 15. Idam maya labdham imam prapsye manoratham idam asti idam api me bhavishyati bunadanam aso maya hata shatrur hanashe chaparanapi ishwaroham maham bhogi siddhoham balavan sukhi Adyo bijanavanasmi konyosti sadrisho maya yakshe dasyami modishya itya jnana vimohita. The demoniac person thinks, so much wealth do I have today, and I will gain more according to my schemes. So much is mine now, and it will increase in the future. More and more. He's my enemy, and I have killed him. And my other enemies will also be killed. I am the Lord of everything. I am the enjoyer. I'm perfect, powerful, and happy. I'm the richest man, surrounded by aristocratic relatives. There's none so powerful and happy as I am. I shall perform some sacrifices, I shall give some charity, and thus I shall rejoice. In this way, such persons are deluded by ignorance. The Prabhupada doesn't comment there, but this idea, I'll perform some sacrifices, I'll look religious. This is your damba. Damba is a quality, is hypocrisy. You wanting to be seen as an upstanding man while being, a gangster. Okay, check 16. Aneka chitta vibranta moha jalasamabhata vasakta kama bhogeshu patante narakeshu chao. Thus perplexed by various anxieties and bound by a network of illusions, they become too strongly attached to sense enjoyment and fall down into hell. Purport. The demoniac man knows no limit to his desire to acquire money. That is unlimited. He thinks only of how much assessment he has just now and schemes to engage that stock of wealth further and further. For that reason, he does not hesitate to act in any sinful way and so deals in the black market for illegal gratification. He is enamored by the possessions he has already, such as land, family, house, and bank balance, and he is always planning to improve them. He believes in his own strength, and he does not know that whatever he is gaining is due to his past good deeds. He is given an opportunity to accumulate such things, but he has no conception of past causes. He simply thinks that all his massive wealth is due to his own endeavor. A demoniac person believes in the strength of his personal work, not in the law of karma. According to the law of karma, a man takes his birth in a high family or becomes rich or very well educated or very beautiful because of good work in the past. The demoniac thinks that all these things are accidental and due to the strength of one's personal ability. They do not sense any arrangement behind all the varieties of people, beauty, and education. Anyone who comes into competition with such a demoniac man is his enemy. There are many demoniac people, and each is enemy to the others. This enmity becomes more and more deep between persons, then between families, then between societies, and at last between nations. Therefore, there is constant strife, war, and enmity all over the world. Each demoniac person thinks that he can live at the sacrifice of all others. Generally, a demoniac person thinks of himself as the supreme God, And the demoniac preacher tells his followers, "Why are you seeking God elsewhere? You are all yourselves God. Whatever you like you can do. Don't believe in God. Throw away God. God is dead." These are the demoniac's preachings. Although the demoniac person sees others equally rich and influential, or even more so, he thinks that no one is richer than he and that no one is more influential than he. As far as promotion to the higher planetary system is concerned, he does not believe in performing yajnas or sacrifices. Demons think that they will manufacture their own process of yajna and prepare some machine by which they will be able to reach any higher planet. The best example of such a demoniac man was Ravana. He offered a program to the people by which he would prepare a staircase so that anyone could reach the heavenly planets without performing sacrifices, such as are prescribed in the Vedas. Similarly, in the present age, such demoniac men are striving to reach the higher planetary systems by mechanical arrangements. These are examples of bewilderment. The result is that without their knowledge, they are gliding toward hell. Here the Sanskrit word moha jala is very significant. Jala means net. Like fish caught in a net, they have no way to come out. Hare Krishna. So this is sobering, I mean, for those of us who weren't born in devotee families, maybe our one member here was, this was a way of life. This was the way of life, is just one desire after another. We were never rich enough where I could conclude that I'm the Ishvara, that I'm the consumer enjoyer, But the influence is paramount throughout the society. When there's no systematic culture of Vedic knowledge, especially the simple idea that we're all eternal and we're bound by our own karma, and you're making your destiny now by what you do, so everything you do has consequences. I mean, that simple idea will change everyone's calculation about what's really important. And so this knowledge is essential, you can see, in order to turn the society around, in order to try to propagate the idea that real happiness doesn't lie in material sense gratification. As Rishabdev so concisely says, Nuna pramatta kurate vikarma yarindriya priteya apanoti nasaudu manne yata atmanoyan asannapi kleshada asadeha. Says certainly those who are simply after sense gratification are mad. Nunam pramatta means certainly mad. Kurate vikarma, because if that's your only goal, you're not worried about any restrictions, that means you're sure to perform vikarma. Krishna defines those three, karma, vikarma, and akarma, I think in the 4th chapter. And in that context, karma is fruit of activity, but within the Vedic paradigm, so you're not performing all kinds of sinful activities. At least you're staying with that, you're sacrificing, and eventually you'll see the foolishness of it and you'll come to Krishna. But vikarma means sinful activity without any reference to any restrictions, and that's the world we live in. Akarma is best, means you're active, but you're not incurring any reaction, good or bad, because it's all the results of being given to Krishna. So here, Rishabdev says they're certainly mad if they simply have to sense gratification, because they're sure to perform for karma, and that vikarma is sure to bring a lot of suffering. You get another body, and it may not even be a human body like that. And the next verse really always struck with me. Prabhupada quotes these 3 verses. There's 3 verses in a row. There's a lot of little lessons in the Bhagavatam that's worth focusing on, and this is one of them. So then he gives a general principle in the next verse. Parabhavastavat abodha jato yavan nijigyasata atma tattvam yavat kriyas tavadidam manovai karmatmakam yena sharira bandha. So the word parabhava means defeat. And in the Vedic paradigm, a culture, defeat means taking another birth. All your aspirations have been, finished. Now you're again taking a birth, and if you've been sinful, maybe a lower birth. So what he said, parabhavastavat abodha jato, that defeat is born of ignorance, gross ignorance. This ignorance of the self, ignorance of God, relationship, activities. Abodha jato. So therefore, yavan nijigyasata atma tattvam. you will remain in ignorance as long as you do not inquire into the truth of the self. So without that without that inquiry, your ignorance is going to be paramount, and you're going to be defeated life after life. Paravadas tavad yavad. Tavad yavad is a pair of a combination in Sanskrit. Just like we have yata tata, just as da da da. Similarly, da da da. Drawing an analogy. Dehinosmin yata dehi. So yavat tavat means as long as you do this, you get this, and often it's negative. As long as you don't do this, you won't get that. So in this verse, you have two pairs of yavat tavat in one verse. So he says paravadas tavat. You can have the tavat second. Parabhavas tavat abodha jato yavan na jigyasadharmatattvam. As long as you do not inquire into the truth of the self, you will remain in ignorance and thus be defeated life after life. Yavat kriyas, as long as you're acting fruitively on the basis of that ignorance of the self. Tavad, that long, idam manovai karmatmakam. Your mind will remain karmatmakam, which means saturated with material desires and aspirations. Asha pasha shatabadha. And these unfulfilled aspirations take you from one birth to another. You die with all kinds of unfulfilled desires. That's plus your karma. So all those two factors are going to give you your next body. So yavat kriyas. Kriyas simply means fruit of activity. As long as you perform fruit of activity based on the ignorance you mentioned in the first part of the verse. Tava, that long, manovai karmatmakam. Karmatmakam means a mind filled with fruit of desires. And yena, by which that mind, sharira bandha, you stay bound to a material body. So what's the solution? Third verse in the series. So this is Rishabdev speaking, and here he directly says Vasudev, he identifies as himself as Vasudev, as God, Krishna. Evam manak karma vasham payunkte avidyapanupadiymane pritir niyavan maya vasudeve namuchate dehi yogena tavat. The last pair of yava tavat. So he says, thus, evam manak karma vasham, the mind thus impelled by karmic desires, by fruit of desires. If all you're doing is trying to enjoy and planting new desire seeds, your mind is karmatmakam. So evam manak karma vasham payunkte avidyapan, you're full of ignorance, upadiyamane, and the soul is bound by this way. But then the last two lines, pritir niyavan, pritir niyavan, as long as there is no love for me, you have not developed love for me, Vasudev. He designates himself Vasudev, Krishna. Pritir niyavan, mayi vasudeve namuchate dehi yogena tavat. Last word is tavat. That long you will remain bound to a material body. So there's no mukti without bhakti. There's no mukti without developing love for Krishna. And that means that all we need to do is develop our bhakti for Krishna, and mukti will take care of itself. You see? And yet, that's an important impetus for beginning devotional service and staying strong. And that is realizing the miseries of this material life and wanting to get out. There's nothing wrong with that, provided that it's pushing you and impelling you toward practice of bhakti yoga. Because as you move along the path, you feel liberated. You're liberated from all these unwanted desires and things, and you become less and less concerned about that. But in the beginning especially, one should be very aware. Janma mitra jara vyadi dukkha doshana darshanam. That's one of the elements of knowledge in the 13th chapter. To always be aware of the miseries of birth, old age, disease, and death. Which if you actually understand it, then it just cuts the legs off of any material aspiration. You see how self-defeating it is to cultivate any material desires, and how important it is to cultivate our spiritual desires to serve Krishna. So that's all coming out of this. And this, I never forget this line. I did one of the first verses I memorized. Ishvaroham maham bogi siddhovan balavan sukhi. Maybe it was in a play or something. It was in a play, I think. But I'm not recommending you memorize it. It may. Anyway. But Krishna is so skilled, Okay, we got 5 minutes till adjournment, so we'll share a few poems. You need something sweet after, you're meditating all the demons' qualities. But this chapter is really important, and especially the last 4 verses. So let's see. We'll resume on Monday with text 16 at the bottom of the page. All right. So, let's see. What's a good verse? We can meditate on Krishna's lifting Govardhan Hill. What would be more appropriate than that? Right here in the Govardhan. When Krishna stopped King Indra's sacrifice, did you ever hear this one before? It illustrates a painting of Krishna lifting Govardhan Hill. We got him on the frieze here, right? Each one of these panels. When Krishna stopped King Indra's sacrifice, that monarch of the heavens threw a fit. Those cowards took that foolish boy's advice. Such insolence I never shall permit. So Indra sent the clouds of devastation to pour down devastating hail and rain with lightning, winds, and thunder without cessation. The cowards called to Krishna in their pain. To show his coward friends his boundless love and crush King Indra's pride for his own good, Shri Krishna lifted Govardhan above and saved his friends while neath the hill they stood. All right, we got time for one more. The sweetness of Shri Krishna's form. Okay, now you have to visualize the painting. He's sitting out in the forest. There's a little deer, there's a little cow, there's a swan, and there's a dove on his hand. You know, very beautiful painting. The sweetness of Shri Krishna's form beguiles. Still sweeter is his form. No, the sweetness of Shri Krishna's form beguiles. See, still sweeter is his face like autumn moon. But sweeter than the sweetest is his smile, whose luscious beauty makes the gopis swoon. Govinda's beauty captivates the doves, the swans, the deer, the cows, and every tree. Indeed, in Braja, every creature loves Shri Krishna and is drowned in ecstasy. That all-enchanting land is paradise, our home where we may dwell eternally. Most welcome there are those who pay the price to learn to love Shri Krishna perfectly. Hari Hari Bol. Time for one more. How about this one? Krishna and Radharani swinging. That's coming up. It's called Julan Yatra. Have you ever done Julan Yatra? You set up a little swing here, and then we swing the little deities for 5 days, just before Balaram's appearance day, which is a few weeks before Krishna's because he's older. Okay. Where blooming flowers spread their sweet perfumes, where clear Yamuna flows and songbirds sing, while all the land a lovely light illumes, Shri Radha and Shri Krishna gently swing. This idyll of their love in Braja's bowers forever charms their dearest devotees, whose heart Shri Krishna's sweetness overpowers, obscuring his prodigious potencies. Whatever in this world we know as love is just a shadow of the love they feel. The wise aspire to learn the secrets of devotion's path and taste that love ideal. Hare Krishna. Don't sin. You can't win. Love God, not the bod. Chant Hare Krishna. They made a T-shirt of that one. We can get it for you, Ed. Yeah, you can just walk around and preach. Oh, he had it on? All glory to Srila Prabhupada.